Before the sea, before distant lands, there was the village, a quiet world shaped by routine, survival, and shared effort, where generations lived and died without ever imagining what lay beyond the horizon. History had not yet begun to move. Viking villages were small, tightly organized communities. Homes, paths, and shared spaces were shaped by necessity, not design. Every structure served a purpose, from protection against cold to cooperation between families, where survival depended on everyone working together. Viking homes were not built for comfort, but for survival. Constructed from wood, turf, and stone, longhouses were designed to resist cold winds, heavy snow, and long northern winters. Thick walls and low entrances helped preserve heat, while shared living spaces reinforced dependence between families. The Viking longhouse was far more than simple shelter. Archaeological evidence shows these buildings were designed to protect families during winters that could last more than 6 months. Built from wood, stone, and turf, their thick walls retained heat, while a central hearth provided warmth, light, and a place for daily life. In Viking society, children learned by watching adults. There were no schools. Skills and traditions passed through observation and repetition, shaping each child's place within the community from an early age. Daily survival in a Viking village depended on constant labor. Most families relied on farming, animal husbandry, fishing, and basic craftsmanship. Archaeological evidence shows that food production and tool maintenance required daily effort, leaving little room for rest, especially during short northern summers. Food in Viking society depended heavily on the seasons. Archaeological evidence shows that most meals were based on grains, dairy, fish, and meat when available. Preservation methods like drying and smoking were essential, as fresh food was scarce during long winters that could last up to 6 months. Survival depended on stored resources. Archaeological evidence shows that Viking families carefully managed grain, dried fish, and preserved meat to endure long winters. A failed harvest or spoiled reserves could threaten an entire household, making preparation essential months before the cold returned. Among the Vikings, strength did not come from weapons alone. The body was shaped from an early age through daily labor, repeated movements, and endurance. Training meant survival, lifting, pulling, building, sailing. Every effort prepared them to face the cold, the sea, and the unknown. Much of Viking survival depended on work that left little trace. Women managed textiles, food preparation, storage, and daily organization. Archaeological evidence shows their labor was constant and essential, sustaining households and supporting every other activity within the village. A Viking village was never finished. Buildings required constant repair as wood, turf, and earth deteriorated quickly in harsh climates. Archaeological evidence shows that maintenance was a daily task, essential to keeping homes standing and protecting families throughout the year. Viking communities relied on collective decision-making. Local assemblies, known as things, allowed free men and leaders to discuss disputes, laws, and common concerns. Authority was based on reputation and consensus rather than absolute power, shaping how villages governed themselves. Life in a Viking village followed a slow and repetitive rhythm. Days often looked the same, shaped by work, weather, and waiting. This constant repetition built endurance and patience, preparing people mentally for long winters and uncertain futures. The sea was never distant from Viking life. It shaped food, travel, and survival, but also danger. Cold waters, sudden storms, and strong currents made every coastal task uncertain, reminding communities daily that the sea could both sustain and destroy. Viking navigation relied on careful observation rather than instruments. Sailors read the sun, stars, wind, waves, and the behavior of birds. Some evidence suggests the use of simple tools, but experience and memory remained the most reliable guides across open water. For many Vikings, staying was not always an option. Limited land, growing families, and scarce resources created pressure within communities. Traveling by sea involved danger, but it also offered opportunity, making departure a calculated decision rather than blind ambition. Decisions were rarely made in moments of excitement. They formed slowly, shaped by necessity, patience, and experience. For some Vikings, leaving home was not a dream, but a quiet conclusion, drawn from the life they knew. Before any raid or voyage, there was a life built on skill and discipline. Homes were raised, tools were made, knowledge was passed on quietly. The sea did not create these people. It simply offered a path where necessity, courage, and opportunity could meet.